However, real or not, thousands of people across the globe are now participating to show their solidarity with the people at Standing Rock. As of this morning, nearly 130,000 Facebook users have, quote, checked in. So this is all over social media because people actually care, right? People want to know what's going on. White people too. But is it going to make it into the corporate media? Have you seen anything in the corporate media? I mean, occasionally there's a passing reference. Oh, those crazy Indians, they're talking about sacred land. We all know land isn't sacred. You pay property taxes on land. Land is property. Right? There's nothing alive there. Ancestors, what are you talking about? Come on. That's not our culture. See, this is the riff. I mean, this is a third of the book, The Last Hours of Ancient Sunlight, is, you know, where we say we are an inclusive country. Everybody's welcome. It's the great melting pot. Isn't that a wonderful thing? But there's really a subset message to that. I mean, that's the principal message, and that's the myth that we live out. But the fact of the matter is that if you want to be successful in this society, you need to learn to talk like a white person, to behave like a white person, to plug into the white power structure in this country. White privilege is real. And you know, people of color can sometimes acquire a little bit of it, as it were. But never the whole thing. Of course, never the whole thing. So how much is the fact that the corporate media in the United States, which is virtually entirely white-controlled, virtually entirely, you know, the vast majority of the producers are white, the vast majority of the reporters are white, the vast majority of the executives are white, the owners and the large stockholders are virtually all white. What kind of impact does that have on what kind of news gets covered? And how that news gets covered? Now, you know, you ask minorities in this country, they'll tell you, we've been noticing it for years and years. I remember back in the 60s, I played a Dick Gregory album, The Light Side, The Dark Side, four sides, back to back, the whole thing, when I was doing an all-night progressive rock show, and I got fired for it. The only time I've ever been fired. WVIC in Lansing, Michigan. And you've probably heard, you know, I've told the story before, so I'm not going to repeat it. But one of the points that Dick Gregory made in that album, and over the years, you know, I've gotten to know him. We've been to Europe together. We've been to Africa together. You know, his son is my chiropractor. It's like he's a great guy. He lives here in D.C. now. He's been on this program, in fact, most recently, just 6 months ago or so. And he made the comment that the only images growing up as a young black man in St. Louis, Missouri, that the only images that he saw of black women were basically Aunt Jemima. And he made the joke, you know, and I never wanted to have sex with Aunt Jemima, or words to that effect. And that was, you know, back then, it was like the media was just like so clearly, so completely a white-controlled media, as it were. And it was of, by, and for essentially white people. People of color pretty much didn't exist in our media, except as character actors. And the characters, of course, were always bad guys, or stupid people, or buffoons. And, you know, yes, that started to change with the primetime rule when you got independent production companies producing television programs and in the 70s and 80s, and it started getting better in the 90s, and it's better today. You're seeing, you know, more diversity on television, but it still doesn't reflect the diversity of America. And it doesn't even begin to reflect the people who were the original, any part of the lives of the people who were the original occupants of this continent. So, you know, I'm of the opinion that the reason that you're seeing no Standing Rock coverage, if you want to get Standing Rock coverage, you gotta tune in Amy Goodman or listen to this program, basically. The reason why is that it's not white people. Now, I know when I go off on these rants about white privilege, I get all these conservative callers telling me I'm nuts. Feel free. Convince me I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong about this. We'll be back with your calls on this and everything else.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program.